Do. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, or morning from wherever or what time you're joining us. I'm Joyce Rainbow, and we're finishing up. This is part 2 of the stream that I did last week, and I think we're gonna wrap things up today. Mostly putting in the white ink. We put in a lot of the dark inks in last week, but we're putting in the lighter clouds and the stars and all that pretty stuff. And you probably could see some of my iPad mock-up here. That's usually how I start out, just do like a very quick editable mock-up on the iPad, and then I'm able to just put it on paper. So there's no need for a light box today because this is what I use. I printed out this guy and then I put it on the light pad, but there was no need to use that now because I'm just painting in the galaxy, but there's still a little bit of details that I do want to put in here. So yeah, I'll be finishing that up this week. Next week I will be out of town, so there's no streaming for next week, but I will probably get back into it either late June or early July. Beep. Edward Draw Stuff says beep. Hello. How are you today? What are you up to? Are you currently working on stuff? I was talking to you earlier about Lightbox Expo. For those of you who don't know, it's a convention in Southern California that has art classes from tons of professionals, and I have 2 very awesome friends who are exhibiting there. One is Edward Draw Stuff, who is currently in chat. The other is Cryomera, who streams a lot on Twitch as well. So I'm excited to hang out with all new and old friends that I'll be hanging out with there. And I've gone to CTNX Cartoon and Animation Expo in the past, and so I anticipate it to be pretty similar to that, but better. So yeah, and the classes I took were amazing. I took a Nathan Fowkes class. I think Edward was there too. On color theory, or just color scripting, I think is the right term, and that was phenomenal. So it was, I just came out of these things very inspired and very just wanting to like do so much with my work, and it's just worth it. So I really want to go back to one of these things, and I'm really excited. Who we have? Oh, Boomerang Squad, welcome in. How are you today? We have a blast for, yeah, Nathan Fowkes. Forgot who else we saw there. Ian McKee or whatever. There's like 2 Ian artists that are very similar that I tend to forget. So okay, real quick before we get started, I want to thank everyone who's here today. I just want to address the quick elephant in the room, a tiny elephant, but there's an elephant. I anticipated to come back to streaming, to multi-stream with Twitch and YouTube. However, the next day there was a change in the terms of service where I'm not able to do that anymore. So that was that's cool. It was definitely difficult for me to change courses immediately because I had planned this out for months and put together stuff for both YouTube and Twitch for quite some time. So it was difficult hearing that news, but it's not going to stop me from streaming, and I'm still able to like be here, and like we got like a couple of awesome folks in here already who, you know, some of them from Twitch, and saw some from last stream as well. So it's really cool that you guys are here, like seriously, really, really cool. And there's a possibility for joining Kick in the future as well, if you guys do prefer that platform. I honestly just feel kind of bad from like telling you to go to one platform and then being like, nope, can't do that anymore. So but you guys being here is really, really, really cool. Like I can't thank you guys enough. If you're here live, or if you're here watching this stream pre-recorded at a future time, like that's really, really cool. So it's making, long story short, it's making me really happy that you guys are here, and I'm really excited for all the stuff that I get to do with YouTube, and I'm really looking forward to focusing a lot more on putting a lot more effort into both video content and live streams with this platform. If you haven't seen my video yet, it's called Why I Canceled My Affiliate, but funny enough, the original script for that video was why I was actually intending to leave Twitch altogether, and then I was like, okay, I can include it, and then I was like, okay, maybe not. So, but the intention was that I wanted to focus more on YouTube and video content. There's like better monetary reasons for that, but not just for the money, of course, but because I do really want to be an art teacher and like to help and inspire others. And I can do that on multiple platforms, but I think with pre-recorded videos and my intention for making videos on this platform, I want to help out in 3 categories. I want to help out with like technical stuff, like how to draw this and that, and you know, just more technical stuff. I want to help out with business, like art business stuff. Like if you guys want to be a full-time artist and run your own business, and or part-time or whatever, you want to make some money off of your art, I want to help out with that based off of my experience. And is that thunder? Okay, anyways. And most importantly, I want to help out with like the emotional stuff too, because being an artist is emotionally draining, and being a artist to earn income off of it is very emotionally draining. So And I feel like that's the thing that is talked about the least in the art community. Because I feel like people don't really know where to start, but I really want to open up my experiences to that and to just be very emotionally supportive of you artists as well. So I'm really excited for the journey with that. Oh, let me catch up with chat. There's some people in here. Hey Bard, welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have like some of the mods back as well. Oh, thank you, Edward. Oh, you're baking a cake. You're always like baking something really cool. Aw, thank you. Cake gives you bad vibes. Yeah, it's definitely like, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely like the Wild West out there from what I've heard. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just hanging out, especially in like the art community or whatever they have out there. So far, and just I've been talking to like a few streamers and just trying to see the idea of the vibe, and it doesn't seem so bad so far. And I do have another moderator that is familiar with Kick, so I think with that I feel like I don't have much to lose to add it onto the multi-stream. I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's like a supplementary thing for me. So with YouTube being the main thing. So I feel like it's worth a shot. And I understand it's like weird right now with it being new and wild. Like we all know about wild internet, where most of us are like 90s kids or older. So we know, but I think it's worth a shot at least. Oh, it is Thunder. Hey, Mika Bites, welcome in. Thank you so much for helping out with moderating as well. Ronnie's here too. Oh man, I'm using the restream chat, so I need to look at the real chat on YouTube so I can see all these beautiful emotes. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Okay, anyways, let's actually do some art now that I've got my little announcements out of the way. Yeah, clouds. So today I'm using Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. And oh, I don't have the autofocus on right now. But this stuff is pretty darn cool. This is what professional comic book artists use. This is one of the videos that I do want to come out with, is what is the best white ink out there, because I like working with black and white ink together forever. But I've used like whiteout pens, I've used gel pens, I've used like Posca markers and acrylic ink, and they all have their pros and cons to each degree. But this stuff is my absolute favorite. This stuff is dope. So the only thing that's finicky about this is you have to add water to it, and you have to add water in a proportional amount. So I think I have like a good amount of water. Like if you add too much water, it's too thin. If not, it gets too thick. But you want to make sure you have just enough water to thin it out to where I'm using both a dip pen and a brush today. But with the dip pen especially, it can be kind of finicky, the consistency of the ink. So yeah, I've had to like play with the consistency a bit, but I think I have it at a good spot. And you just add water a little bit by a little bit to get it to where, and always have your test sheet close by, especially when working with this type of ink, because it will help. Okay, enjoy your lurk, Edward. Yeah, Ronnie. I saw Ronnie at an event. I'm like, Ronnie and I live in the same city, but I got to see Ronnie at an event I was doing in December, and it was so nice to see you. So nice to see your pretty little face. But yeah, with that, let's get started. I think things will be easier with the paintbrush, so I will use that first. Ooh, I'm also planning on like doing a thin layer of white right here, and I think that's what I'm gonna do as a paintbrush. At least I can do like thin, transparent layers to get that cloudy look. But when I'm using the dip pen to get some of those lines out, bring that out, I want it to be opaque. So yeah. I missed you too. What have you been up to? I see you've been cooking quite a bit. I try to cook here and there. It's hard though. I think tomorrow though, I do want to make a bomb salad. I do want to make a bomb chickpea salad because I've been into eating plant-based stuff lately. So we'll see about that. And I thought I had all my stuff. Oh, here we go. Work in school and Diablo 4. Dude, there are so many good games coming out right now or have recently come out. So what have you guys been playing lately? I know that most of this community are gamers. Diablo 4 is a big one. I haven't played a lot of Diablo. I played a little bit of Diablo 2, I think back in 2008 or so. It was a lot of clicking, that's all I remember. So I think it was the second Diablo. From what I heard, the first Diablo really sucked. So it probably wasn't that one, because I do remember having fun. But yeah, how's Diablo 4? And me personally, I've been really into Tears of the Kingdom. Love it, love it. Love Breath of the Wild, so I knew I was just gonna love Tears of the Kingdom. That's awesome. But I think Final Fantasy 16 is coming out soon as well. I think the demo for that has been... I think the demo for that came out, but I don't have a PlayStation 5. I probably will get one this year because I'm super hyped for the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Let's see how that consistency comes out. Okay, we can put a little bit more ink in there. Yeah, that's what's up. I feel like Bob Ross in his freaking clouds right now. Just great, just fantastic. Oh, I didn't know that Project Zomboid was gonna have an update. Do you have any idea what that's going to be like? Oh, it's different. It's an MMO. Oh, goodness. I see. That's why it's big right now. Like Diablo 4 is getting a lot of hype, and I'm not sure why, because I'm not very familiar with those games. But because it's an MMO, that makes sense. Hey, Jank, welcome in. Oh, thank you so much. How are you today? We're just talking about video games, if you're playing anything lately. I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom. I can spend forever in that game, I swear. So, oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, Project Zomboid. So I've been playing that with Miko and his brother and their friends and stuff. So Project Zomboid is like, it's what would you say that a better name for that genre? Resource survival game. It's like how Minecraft is, you know, you gotta combine resources, but there's also freaking zombies running around everywhere, and once you get bitten, it can be over for you, you know, like a real zombie apocalypse. So it's like a survival resource game, but with a twist. So it's quite difficult, but it's really fun. Farm animals, more stories. Oh, on buildings? Okay. We're introducing... Oh, NPCs. Okay, because there's really no story to it right now. Just you get spawned into a city when you play this game, and you can choose your role. Like if you want to be a firefighter, or I think I like to choose Park Ranger because I like foraging for stuff, and Park Rangers are just badass in general. Um, but I mean, you can like be a burglar. that's a that's a job. I'm a professional burglar. No, but yeah, you can be a burglar, so you can like be really good at stealing cars, which is quite useful actually. Um, just to have those one-ups with your character, so it's really fun. And yeah, I like zombie games are so fun. It's still taking me forever to get through Resident Evil 2, the remake game, because it's scary. Oh yeah, happy belated birthday. Yesterday was Miko's birthday, and we had a lot of fun. We went hiking in the morning. We have this little tradition of eating breakfast in canyons. I think like it started last year, where we would make pancakes and stuff, and then we would go hiking in a canyon because Nevada has a lot of slot canyons. We're just a southwest region. So we would just bring out the pancakes, and we got some sausages and go hiking and like just climb up into the canyon and eat it. And it was really fun. And then we saw, what's the new one called? Across the Spider-Verse, because I really loved the first movie, and I heard the second movie was also fantastic, which it was. It was great. And then we hung out at Resorts World afterwards, and our Las Vegas hockey team won the Stanley Cup. So that happened yesterday as well. So it was a great day yesterday. The ham class? I was like, when was there a ham class? What are you talking about? Okay, I see. I think the one thing that's a little awkward about this ink, and I guess I could have seen it coming, was see how it's kind of blue? That's a bit weird. So I think what I'm gonna try to do to offset that is just make the rest of this a combination of black and white ink so that it blends in well, because I like things with clouds to like be more blendy. So we'll see. It's a learning experience, but it's fun. Hey, Killer Artistry! Before your stream started. Oh, it's okay. It's all good. Thanks for being here. How are you today? Was watching the game. Oh yeah, because you're also, I don't know if your fiance is also from Vegas, but must be. But yeah, that was exciting. I mean, I've never really been that big of a sports person in general, and Vegas is a very rapidly growing city. It's insane. So 10 years ago, we didn't have any sports teams at all. And then we got the Vegas Golden Knights hockey team, which they made it to the semifinals their first year. And now they won the Stanley Cup. So it's insane. Like in the desert, the best sport is hockey. And now we're getting all of Oakland's teams. We already got the Raiders, we're getting the A's. So things are changing pretty fast. We also have a giant sphere on the strip. We're starting to get more buildings that are not building shaped, which I think is pretty funny. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to get like cool. I mean, this is supposed to, here's like the digital drawing I did. So it's supposed to look a little more sharp. So we're getting to that. We're getting to the details, but something I like contrast with my work, like something more sharp and technical versus something more flowy and dreamy. What's the toilet? What are you talking about, Ronnie? Are we getting a Las Vegas toilet? official toilet on the strip. Oh, you finished your website. Okay, yeah, feel free to link that, Killer Artistry. Oh, it's the state. I've never heard that. I'm out of the loop, but you know what? I believe it for some reason. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, there's so much going on now. It's insane. And I'm originally from San Francisco. I've always grown up in the city. Where I live right now is more suburb than San Francisco is a little bit less of a suburb. It's very compact, but Vegas is more like suburbia. It's a lot more quiet in the residential areas than San Francisco, in my opinion. So I've always grown up in some sort of city. But yeah, I've lived in Vegas for 17 years now, and a lot has changed. It's a very, very fast growing city. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I figured that was the golf ball. It's technically called the MSG sphere. Monosodium glutamate sphere. Could be anything, a golf ball, a pokeball. I guess U2 is going to be playing there. That's the first band that they're having. Also, if anyone's into F1, Formula 1 racing, we're having that. They're paving a bunch of roads in Vegas right now for that. So that's going to be here in November. Oh, the football stadium? Yeah, it's everything is like a giant LED wall now, like giant. So, like, I don't know. Okay, you know what? When this dries, it actually looks a little better. Not 100%, but it's starting to look a little better, and that's something you have to consider when you're working with wet media like ink and, well, definitely watercolor. I wouldn't say like acrylic or oils, but you have to take into consideration that the color is going to change when it dries, so just be patient with it. Oh, of course, yeah. We're a community of artists, and you know, making a website is such a big deal. It's a really, really big deal, because I know that when I put my website together, I'm the type that I just want everything to be perfect before I publish it, like very too into that perfectionism, honestly. But it's a big deal, so hell yeah, we want to see it. You were born in Palm Springs? Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever been out to Palm Springs, but I've been to Indio and Coachella Valley. That's probably the closest I've been. And that part of California is still hot. Which California is pretty crazy because it's crowded AF for once. But the craziest thing about California is that it has multiple different landscapes, geographic regions, I guess is a more appropriate term, because there's the beach, there's the coast, and then there's the mountains. So like once the coast up to the mountains, it's pretty cool. It's pretty humid and it's pretty cool. But once you get past the mountains, it gets into desert, and it's really hot. That's where Death Valley is, basically, which is the hottest place in North America, and we were there in May, by the way. I should post pictures into Discord of that, because I did some revamping of our lovely Discord server, which it's in the description if you guys want to join. I think most of you guys are already here, have joined our Discord, but I did some revamping there to make things more visible. So I'll be planning to be more active on there as well. I know it's a whole ordeal. It's like even with so I used Wix to build my website. It was a toss up between Squarespace and Wix, because we all know Squarespace is pretty big. We've all seen the sponsored Squarespace ads on YouTube, but Squarespace was down when I tried to make my website, so I was like, okay, Wix it is. And it's a lot easier now to build off of website templates. I mean, I actually used to code websites when I was in middle school, and I got frustrated with coding, so I stopped. But it was definitely a lot harder to make websites from scratch, like very frustrating. But even with templates, it's still quite difficult. I think now that I've gotten the habit of how this stuff works, I want to try to, ooh, that looks good. I want to try to lighten up this ink right here. Yeah, no, Discord can be very daunting and difficult at first, but it's definitely a good way to just, you know, bond with the community after hours, and just to like share your work, because we're all like really supportive of each other's work on there. And yeah, I just changed it to forum style posting, so that before it was kind of, I think, chat room style, to where you would post a picture, and then when someone else would post their picture or make comments, it would just like push that picture up. But now it's forum style, to where you can make a post and so when people do comment and stuff, it'll stay within that post, and your drawing will still be there, and people can see it for a much longer time. A WordPress? I've used Blogspot, but I don't know if I've used WordPress before. Oh no, it's hard. It's really hard. So yeah, making a website, like you can share it here in the chat if you want. You can share it in Discord. You can do both. Like we're definitely excited to see it. But yeah, no, Discord was really daunting at first. I'm like, there's so many little categories and stuff. But it's been such a game changer, and Twitch, I've joined so many servers. Like I should probably start filtering some out, because I'm not as active on, like, I think I'm only active on 5% of the servers that I've joined. But it's been like a real game changer. And sometimes if I have a question for a streamer or their community about whatever they're doing, art or technical wise, I just hop on their server, and you know, I can ask questions and get some advice. Because it's like, I know some streamers, it's like they're too busy to be DM'd, and it's much better to ask someone in their server than to directly DM them, because some people just get a lot of DMs, or some people don't really want to be DM'd. So I respect that, and I'm like, okay, I think talking to them in their server is more appropriate. Oh no, yeah, so I think after the Great Panini, because more classrooms and more, just in general, more people were using Discord. I think Discord started coming out with tutorials on how to put stuff together, and it's a little bit more user-friendly now, to where I think I had some help making mine in 2019. That's when I got into streaming. I don't know what's going on, but Yeah, now it's a little more easier to approach. I feel like, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think one of the most important parts about being an artist, either if you want to do it professionally or as a hobby, is really leveraging that community that you have. And Discord is very good at, building a community and um, meeting other artists and learning from other people, because that's really how I've learned a lot of what I know now, is just from other artists that I've known, and how I've been able to find a lot of opportunities. It's just from networking and from hanging out with the art community. So it's really important for sure. And there's like art shares and stuff. I really want to do like once I get settled in, because I need to learn how to take one thing at a time. So I got the streaming thing restarted again, and YouTube and all that, but that's one thing I do want to do in the future, is having more art shares where some streamers do this already, where they just take like one day a month and they'll like share people's work. But I was thinking of, I want to start doing a themed one, because some people do themed ones, and working off of a theme can help me find ideas for what to do, which is what I found when trying to submit themes for other people's art shares, or trying to do stuff. There's like, Inktober and Uvember and Mermaid and Unicorn is going on right now, I think. So stuff like that, it helps with coming up with ideas for what to do. Because sometimes I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I don't know what to draw. I just I don't know. And I don't know about you guys, but one of the most difficult things about being an artist that I feel like no one talks about is that we have too many choices. We have too many choices to where it can be hard. It can be hard to move forward, because you get analysis paralysis, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. Not just with drawing, but with art business too. It's like, do I make shirts? Do I stream? Do I make videos? Do I like do this or that? Do I focus on this platform? And it just gets so overwhelming. And a lot of artists, myself included, just want to do it all. I'm just like, I'm gonna do it all. But I'm a human being. I'm a human being, and realistically I can't. And I mean, like, I could do it all eventually over time, but at least with me, I'm like, I want to do like 6 different things in the span of 3 days. And I'm like, man, I gotta eat, I gotta sleep, I gotta rest. I got like other stuff I got going on in my life. I can't do that. I realistically can't do that. So I think, I think a lot of artists struggle with like that too many options thing. So anyways, back to what I was saying about making themes, because that also applies to actually drawing as well. It just helps have like a little focus. I mean, like, okay, I can make something, and I intend on having them being pretty broad themes, like doing something space related, or something underwater, like pretty general themes where people can take that and do whatever they want with it. So many. You most likely overwhelm yourself. Oh no. Creativity opens a door. Yeah. It's like, sometimes I imagine having too many choices. Like, if you only have like one choice and you're very limited in something, like you're working in a very limited career, you have one path in front of you, and that can be very depressing, just having like one choice to do, and it's not very liberating. But then you start having like multiple paths and stuff, and it's like, cool, I have like all these things that I can do. But then you start having more paths and more, until it's just not like multiple paths anymore, and it's just like one giant open desert to where you don't know where you are. And that's kind of how I see it in my mind. It's like, okay, having too many choices can be very overwhelming, if especially if you're the type of person that just wants to do it all. Yeah, baby steps. Patreon. Yeah, see, it's like, as artists, we're like, I want to make a website and make a Patreon and like do this, and it's like we see other artists doing it and we're like, I want to do that. I want to do that. It's like, yeah, one thing at a time. Like, as the age-old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah, I think one thing that really helps with streaming is I just feel so focused right now in a way. It helps when I do more of the rendering and technical side of creating art. Where I'm like, okay, now I'm just like making clouds, and it's probably gonna take a while. So if I were to sit here and just work on this, I would need some sort of extra stimulus to keep me focused, like a podcast or a video, or even better, like hanging out with cool people. Like, can't complain. Like, we got some cool people in here today. It's been fun so far. But like, if I'm doing a lot of line work, very technical work, it can be hard for me to focus and finish because I'm just like, well, I could be doing other things. Like, I think some of us can relate. Not everyone, but some of us. But when it does come to coming up with concepts, trying and failing and putting more of like that brain power in there, that's where I prefer to like work alone and do that on my own time. And then once I'm ready, once I have something solid, then I can render. That's where I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to share this with the world. I'm ready to just go on, well, not really autopilot, because I'm still trying to, there's still some level of consciousness that I'm putting into this, but I'm ready to just soar. You were so scared to do Patreon because it seems overwhelming. Okay, awesome. Yeah, there's like, that's definitely an option. There's Ko-Fi. There's, I know Discord. I'm not sure what the protocol is for having Discord memberships, but there's that option too. Yeah, just lots of options. So, I mean, you definitely don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but at the same time, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. And so it's all about balance, really, finding a good balance of like, okay, I have options and I want options, but I don't want to overwhelm myself. And I still have to, I think I'm just going to do that when I come back from my trip, which, by the way, I messed up the order of this. It's okay. I'll be out of town from June 20 to 27, so I won't be streaming next week, but I'll probably be streaming the week after that, like later in the week, because Miko and I are going to an event called Electric Forest, and it's an EDM festival in the forest of Michigan, and it's a camping festival. So we'll be camping out there, and it's the first time we'll be flying and then camping. So usually when I camp, I like to bring all my creature comforts with me, but I have to be a little bit more selective this time because I can only bring so much with me. I don't have a car. Well, I'm not driving with my car. So that should be interesting, but I'm still excited for it. And it's, I think the day that we leave is on my birthday. So Miko's birthday was yesterday, and then mine will be not next week, but the following week, the 26th. So fun stuff. But yeah, we're excited, and so yeah, no stream next week, but I'll be back the week after that. So sometime after I come back, I do want to do like a little update video on like why I took a 1.5 year hiatus off of streaming, like what made me want to do that, and like what I've been up to during that time, both having to do with art and not art, because a lot of my focus during that hiatus was, okay, how, like taking a step back, like a big step back, and thinking about what I want to do for the long term of my career. Like where can I see myself to set myself up for success in the next 5 or 10 years, to where I'm not just grinding and not getting anywhere. So that switching to YouTube's a big part of that. And just kind of like some emotional blockers that I had to move forward with my career, and I want to address that as well. And I want to address that in a way to where I feel like if other artists are going through that too, I want to be there for you guys and let you know what I've learned during that time. Yeah, doubt is a big part of it too. Like something I'm trying to learn. There's 2 things I'm trying to work on right now is patience. I can be impatient AF, you know? So just trying to be patient and trying to be more confident with what I'm doing. And I feel like if I can improve both of those in my life and my career, it'll make a huge difference. So. Oh, thank you, Jank. I am so excited. I've been wanting to go for years. The tickets are like, they get sold out very quickly. So I'm like, okay, I finally got to score some tickets in December. Super excited. I love camping. And I love music festivals. So the both of them together is just like, mwah, perfect. Yeah. Into YouTube. Yeah, try it out. I mean, I think, from an art business perspective, definitely trying to find ways to effectively monetize your work is something to consider. But I feel like more important than that is like, do you enjoy it, Because there's tons of things that I could be doing right now to where I could monetize what I'm doing, but they're not necessarily stuff that I enjoy. So that's something to consider. Dr. Lawless, power's back on. Hey, welcome in. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. I can cut that out of the video. I just figured it was public, so anyways. How are you? I'm glad that your power is back on. Been waiting forever to move back to Vegas. Oh, okay, so you've been meaning to move back to Vegas. Oh, makeup for EDC, because you do makeup, right? You do like what is it? SFX makeup. So I actually changed my YouTube name today. I changed it from Joyce Rainbow to Joyce Rainbow Art. So if you go to customization, you can change it. But yeah, no worries. I'll cut it out of the video. None of this ever happened. Yeah, EDC. Have you ever been to, or is that something that interests you, killer artistry? Because I know it's not everyone's thing. I know it's just like, whatever. Yay! Yeah, there you go. And it's fine. I wasn't like, I don't mind editing the video. We were just talking about EDC or whatever. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's dude, it's really cool seeing all the performers and stuff. Like, I think last year we went. Was it last year? Yeah, we were in the front of the stage, like the very, very front of the main stage, like that big old stage, because we got there right when it opened. And there were like fun clowns, like not the creepy, weird clowns, but like the fun clowns in the front there. And they were so cool. We had a blast with them. They were like, here, you can play on like our tambourines and stuff. For performers, ooh, Vegas in general just has a lot of opportunities for that. Like, I know a lot of people who are into, who know people within like the Cirque du Soleil world. I know a lot of performers there. There's like circus gyms and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy stuff. Dude. So we ended up, because it was Miko's birthday yesterday, and we ended up at one of the casinos on the strip called Resorts World, newer casino. And yeah, we were there when they won. So yeah, Vegas is going nuts. And what was I gonna say? So there's actually an official parade happening on Saturday for that. And yeah, as I was mentioning earlier on, like we didn't have any sports teams before. We didn't have any sports teams, and then all of a sudden we get a hockey team and they just kick ass. They kick major ass ever since they got here. So I have never seen Vegas so like united through sports and stuff. So it's really cool. It is really cool. Yeah, it's a lot of creative work. Like getting those type of gigs is like all about who you know. So if you ever do move back here to Vegas and you're looking for a SFX special effects makeup position in like the performance industry, entertainment industry, I can probably connect you to some people. Yeah, we're basically taking Oakland, which is funny because I grew up right across from Oakland. Let me pull up a better galaxy. I think I gotta start dabbing. Gotta start dabbing. I felt like I felt so old doing that. Like fellow kids. Hello. No, I gotta start like doing little like star clusters through dabbing my paintbrush. That's what we need next. Yeah, so they're taking down the Tropicana, which is a bit of a bummer, but we already took the Raiders football team, and we are now gonna take the Oakland A's. You've heard of dabbling in art but not dabbing in art? Well, let me be the first to introduce you dabbing in art. Oh, thank you. Yeah, today we're working with the white ink. Probably gonna do a little bit of like integrating with black and white here, because I think last week we ended where I didn't want to introduce the white ink yet. I felt like that was for a new chapter. So yeah, no, for sure. Just let me know. Just let me know. The pro skills. By the way, this is random, but I guess since we're talking about baseball and the A's. Did you know that during the World Series in 1989, it was the Oakland A's versus somebody else? But so 1989 was a couple years before I was born, and San Francisco had that huge earthquake, like massive. And so obviously I wasn't there, but my family was. And my mom, it was my mom and my three brothers that were around, and it was crazy. Like the Bay Bridge collapsed and everything. So they were in like this old, they were actually waiting for a doctor's appointment, and they were in this old brick building, and they were just like, they were fine. They were fine, fortunately, but they were there to experience that. And that actually put the game on hold because it was during the World Series game. So that actually put the game on hold. Imagine that, like this crazy freaking earthquake interrupting the World Series. So I'm glad I don't live by any fault lines anymore. Have I ever tried body painting? I have not. That's like another thing that I'm like, okay, that would be cool to try. But you know, it's like a whole nother skill to learn. But I do know people who do body painting out in Vegas. And I think it's a pretty neat skill for sure. They have body painting studios and stuff as well out in downtown Vegas. Yeah, that's scary. Like, I've been through a couple earthquakes. Like, obviously nothing fatal in my area at least, but to where growing up in school we had earthquake drills, and we're like, okay, you gotta duck under a table or you gotta go in a door frame. So I just remember being like, I gotta go into the table. But I think one time, one of the last earthquakes I experienced was when I went to Canada, which was kind of random because I don't frequent Canada at all. So yeah, that was when I was in Canada. I was in south of Vancouver actually. But it's just, oh, and there was another earthquake I actually experienced in Vegas. So there's two types of earthquakes. There's that like very sudden type of earthquake, and then this earthquake I experienced was very weird because I was actually it was during July, and I was outside, which you know is very hot even at night, and I was at Vegas's First Friday event, which is like an art event they have in downtown. And I was drinking a beer, and all of a sudden, like, things just seemed wavy, and I was like, did I drink too much beer, or like, am I all messed up right now? What is going on? And so it was wavy for 45 minutes. I was looking at that Stratosphere building, which is like the Space Needle, because you know Vegas buildings copy other buildings, and it was waving around, and I was like, what is going on? Like, is this beer normal? You know, so I thought it was me at first. I was like, am I dehydrated? So after that like 45 seconds stop, that's when I heard other people saying that they experienced the same thing. I was like, okay, it's not just me. So I guess like there are earthquakes like that too, where it just kind of like makes everything a little wavy. But yeah, they do come out to Vegas from time to time. It's very rare. But man, California. Oh no, the Loma Prieta. I wonder if that's the same as the San Francisco earthquake, because that one ended up being like really, really bad. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, one of my friends who does body painting works with Robin from, I think, Skin Factory is the show. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's not the beer. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That would be dope. I think one thing that why I enjoy living in Vegas is that it's, as far as the climate goes, it gets really hot, like really hot, which sucks. And it gets windy on a consistent basis, but not like fatally windy. But aside from that, like we don't get a lot of natural anomalies that happen, you know, like tornadoes or earthquakes. So I'm like, okay, it feels pretty safe out here. Hey, Pompano, welcome in. How are you? Yeah, I'm like, body painting is another medium to get into. One medium I was trying to get into during my hiatus was spray painting, because I'm like, man, I really want to do a mural. That's so cool. But good lord, spray painting is a hard medium to get into. Because first of all, I need like space to work on something. So we bought a TV for Black Friday last year, and we have like the giant TV box that we practice on, and it was cool. Like I got to get the feel of spray painting and stuff, but man, to like do an actual painting style of artwork with spray paints is very hard. It involves a lot of control. But fortunately, downtown Vegas did just make a mural park. So if I ever have the time to do that, I might just drop my paint. I might head on out there or something. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Happy to be here and continue working on this fun piece. What have you been up to? Oh no, yeah, being an intern is rough. I know that because there's a lot of tattoo artists out here in Vegas that that have interned at first, and I know I heard it's difficult. So yeah, for sure. I started out using the Montana brand spray paints, and because I didn't want to use like the typical Home Depot brand spray paints. I wanted to use something really cool, and I think I got a pack of, they're about $10 a can, but I got a pack of 12 like really cool vivid colors and stuff. I'm just so impressed with murals because they just make a difference. They just make a difference in the environment and the city, and it's like I just want to do something badass like that, you know? But that's like a very, very far down my priority list because that's a lot to get into. It's a lot. But you know, maybe I'm not closing that door. It's also very physically demanding from what I've heard. I think I want to, like, as far as baby steps goes, I do want to paint a wall in my house or something like that. Like I might paint, I know you guys can't see the wall back here, which I wish you guys could, because I tried making this wall all pretty. But I might paint this wall, or like the wall to the future workout area, something like that, just to like have something, get my toes wet or whatever, and then go from there. Super fun. Oh, okay. I took so part of my graphic design degree, I was required to take photography, and for some reason, so this was in 2011 ish. For some reason, they didn't, like, I couldn't take digital photography, like that didn't count as the photography elective. We had to take the traditional black and white photography class, and then eventually down the road they allowed to have the digital photography count towards a credit, but man, that stuff took so long. But it was a work of art though, like developing that film. And I think as a class it was like, I still talk to some people from that class to this day because we were so bonded through working really hard on our projects. And for some reason, I feel like it's a common thing for artists to just want to be perfect with their work and be perfectionist, because we did all these things. We did a lot of spot toning, we did a lot of these really detailed works for our photography, where it's like we really didn't need to do that, but we just wanted to. And the thing about black and white photography is that it's expensive. First of all, you have to find like photography paper, and you got to do a lot of exposure tests, and you got to do a lot of just a lot of different samples and testing to get the right settings in there. So it's hard, but it was a lot of fun just like hanging out with everyone. As a painting, I took a painting class too in college. I took, I think I took oil painting, and that was like the last time I've touched oil. It's very, it takes forever to dry, but it was fun too. I had a fun time in that class. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for stopping by, Jank. Yeah, we'll do, we'll do. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh, you also did black and white? A lot of fun developing. It is fun. It is fun for sure, but man, it is a lot of work, especially compared to digital photography. I mean, photography is a lot more difficult than what people seem to think it is. But even digital photography, people think that it's just, you take a picture and that's it. Like, you have a good camera and that's it. But I actually, for a good 6 months to a year, considered changing my major to photography, and because I was just going to give up on illustration. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm a very good illustrator, so I'm just going to do photography. And I wanted to do, of all things, I wanted to do freaking wedding photography. And then I had a friend who got married during that time, and I was like, cool, I can get experience. And I was paid like nothing to do that job, which, as someone who just wants the experience, I was like, whatever. And she was my friend. But man, was it stressful. It was so stressful. And I'm like, that's why wedding photographers get paid the big bucks. Because it's also not just, okay, so it was stressful because I had to just be everywhere. And thankfully there was another photographer around to help out, but I just had to be everywhere all the time. And another thing too, I had to talk to people to get them to like group up and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to people. Like, I just want to take pictures. But that was the reality of the job. And then it's a lot of post-processing too. That takes a lot of time, a lot of doing stuff in post. So it's a lot. And I was like, you know what, maybe not. Maybe I'll just go back to drawing. I'll do graphic design. How about that? So that's what I got my major in. Oh yeah. Doing like, I mean, it's good to know on a very basic level how to know what exposure, like ISO and exposure and aperture and all that stuff is. So it's really good to know if you're doing like product photography, even like adjusting, like I feel like the lighting is better with my webcam setups. A lot of it really is about the lighting. Like photography is painting with light. That's what I've come to find is one big similarity between illustration and photography. It's just like you're painting but with light. So like you can have an average camera and have really good lighting and it makes a huge difference. Yeah. We got a whole photography channel too, and I've been meaning to dig up some of my old photography projects and putting them up. Like, I'll put them up in Discord and I'll put them up on Instagram and stuff. That was from such a long time ago, like 10 years ago and stuff. But it's just so cool to see like something you made was your hands, like a picture that wasn't just like, it didn't come from a printer. It actually came from like exposing light that you did yourself. And there's just something so cool about that. But yeah, I was like, I want to be a photographer. And then I was like, this sucks. I think I figured it out now for the most part, but one thing I had trouble with was trying to take a picture and then I had autofocus on. So if I would try to take a picture and then it would go snap. And I'm like, I can't just have people sit there for 10 seconds while it does that. Like, come on. So I found out that I can use a shutter release for that. Makes things a lot easier. You're free! You're free, congratulations! Last day of teacher meetings was today. Hold on, I need to make the house cooler. It has been like high 90s lately. Goodness gracious. It's hot in this room. But yeah, congratulations. So I know you have plans to work on your kitchen some more. TFP, what is that? You're painting the ceiling. Ooh. What are you painting it? Flat white. There's so many different types of white painting colors out there. Oh, dove white. Ooh, all right. Yeah, if I don't have my command set up for YouTube yet, but you guys should definitely, if you haven't yet, go check out our Discord server. It's in the description of the stream. And go check out Pompano's work. Let me see, I got it open on my... Ooh, oh, black and white photography is so cool. I'm gonna take a closer look after stream because the monitor is really far away, but already from the thumbnails, it looks really cool. Okay, yeah, I don't mind. Once you move to Vegas, I'll definitely discuss some opportunities. Get you linked up with people in the entertainment industry for sure. Something I have problems with is, it's not really a problem, but it's a hypothetical problem. Okay, so I've been reading this book on perfectionism because I feel like that's a big part of what has been blocking me to continue was my art. Ooh, that looks sick, by the way. I'm gonna keep doing that. Anyways, so I've been reading this book on perfectionism, and I have been called out on my style of perfectionism, which is like procrastinator perfectionism. I'll do like a whole video on that, by the way, because I feel like a lot of artists are perfectionists. But anyways, it was like, you may be a procrastinator perfectionist if you can't decide what color to paint your wall or something like that. Or it'll take you like way too long to decide what color and you just won't be able to settle. I was like, dude, that's me. I feel like I would never be able to pick a color because that fear in my mind is like, it'll be there for like a long time. So I want it to be good. And like, seriously though, that's one trait that has been kind of blocking me. Is like, oh man, this is gonna be here. This is gonna be like here for a long time. I gotta make it right. Gotta like do everything I can at the beginning, you know? So sometimes I'm just like, you just gotta just do it. Just do it. But yeah, I'm like, I would never be able to settle on a color. Oh, you did pinhole cameras? That's so fun. So, I mean, I've never... Did I make one? I don't know if I think I did make one, but I don't know if I've ever had like a functional print from it. But I know in San Francisco, because San Francisco has a lot of old stuff in it. It's an old city, unlike Vegas. So they have like a giant camera obscura room you can walk into. It's by the cliff. And it's like the size of a room. It's a camera. And I'm like, that's so crazy. That's how people used to take pictures. It's just, they would walk into this room. It's a camera. Yeah. Well, it wasn't as big as an airplane hangar. It's just like the size of a, like, it's like 10 foot by 10 foot, really. But I'm sure there were like ones that were the size of an airplane hangar. Oh, the magnification and focal distance? Yeah, I don't think we got that in depth into it. But we did I saw pictures of it. One thing that was kind of similar to that, which I thought was a really cool but complicated project, was we took, I forgot what subject this was for. It was probably something like math based. But we each had a Hot Wheel. So the teacher gave us all Hot Wheel cars, which was really cool, by the way. But our project was to do a drawing of the Hot Wheel car, and everything had to be like a perfect ratio scale of the car. So like the car is like this big and the paper is this big. I think it was like a 1:16 ratio. Maybe not, maybe like 1:8. I don't remember. I think 1:16 is a little large. But we had to measure every single thing about this car, including like the wheels and the grille, like every single detail. But it actually came out really badass. Like even people who didn't have a lot of, you really don't need to have good drawing skills to be able to replicate that. And it was tedious. It was tedious as hell. But the product was amazing. If you were able to pull that off and measure everything, it was like, you had a really good product. Yeah. Oh, it was in Irvine. Okay, Irvine's a bit, it's like 3-4 hours south of San Francisco, but I think it definitely makes sense that it was by the coast. And then I think I put this in crafting arts a long time ago, but I had to like wipe out, I had to renew the Discord channels. So unfortunately a lot of the old stuff is gone now, which by the way, you can repost. You're free to do that. But I did post I had like a design fundamentals class in college, and I had to take 3 of them. And one of them was 3D slash sculpture based design fundamentals. And that was fun. That took a long time to make stuff, but it was fun. And the same principle was applied there, to where we had to take an object and we had to make it out of cardboard in a 1-to-1 scale. And you had to measure out everything. And I did a PlayStation 1. I still have it. It's really cool. It's falling apart a bit because I had to use like hot glue to glue it all together, but you had to measure out like even like the little grills for ventilation in the PlayStation 1 in the console, like everything. And I even opened up the disc flap, and the little thing in the middle of the disc, where you put the CD in, where it rotates, that moves. So like everything. But it looks really cool, not gonna lie. Oh no. That's unfortunate. But honestly though, it's unfortunate that we don't use the metric system more. But I mean, it's not really their fault, but it's still like, that's unfortunate. Oh, the fractional thing? What do you mean by that? Like, reading fractions? But I mean, it's still... Oh, that sucks, to like confuse something with centimeters and inches. That really sucks. Oh no. I mean, I can kind of see why that's difficult, but at the same time, that's kind of a very essential life skill that you need to know. um, yeah, I don't, I don't know what the best way is to simplify that to have people understand it. I think one of the hardest things for me when I was a teacher, I mean, I was teaching students how to use Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, which when I use Photoshop, by the way, I'm very intuitive with that program. I've been using it for a long time. But it's hard to explain stuff to people who are very new to it and have a different perspective to things than you do. So it's definitely something to keep in mind as an educator. Like that's such a challenge. Like you would think teaching someone how to read a ruler is very obvious. Like, I'm like, come on now, that's an inch. That's like half an inch, you know, but I guess for someone's first time, that's hard. So it would be difficult to, I wouldn't even know how to do that. Like explain that any more than be like, look at it. You know, like to me explaining that to someone, I think I have a better idea for doing that with art stuff. But if I were to explain to someone how to read a ruler, I wouldn't have the patience, honestly. So I know, anything but the metric system. Like we use, I don't know if anyone here right now is from, like not from the United States. I think everyone, all my European viewers are sleeping right now. It's getting quite late over there. But something that's very odd about the United States is that we use time to measure stuff. Like, oh, how long does it take to go to this restaurant? It's 15 minutes away. And I never really thought about that until like some European viewers be like, that's weird. Cause they're like, oh, it's they use meters, like, oh, it's like 30 meters away or something, like, or kilometers actually is a better system. And I'm just like, I don't know what that is. You tell me something is 5 miles away and I'm like, I don't we're more concerned about how long it takes to get somewhere, honestly. Like, I don't give a shit how far away it is. I'm more like, when do I need to leave? So yeah, it's actually quite odd if you've never heard that before and you start hearing somebody measure something with time. But time is not really a physical way to measure something. I guess in an abstract way it is, but yeah, now that I think about it, it's quite weird. Okay. Yeah, like distance-wise, okay, that's a good way to simplify it. And especially with teaching stuff too, like you really have to simplify stuff like they're 5 years old. Even if you're teaching it to a bunch of high schoolers or college kids, like you really have to simplify stuff. Even like adults like us, sometimes we just need like a very watered down explanation to get it. Yeah, 15 miles. Yeah, Los Angeles. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, light years is the distance. I feel like that's I feel like time is it's a metric to measure distance, but in a more abstract or a more dynamic way, which is how I feel light years are, because still, to me anyways, to imagine a light year is very it's more than literal to me. Like okay, this is like a foot, you know, like that's like something more simplified, but as a light year, it's pretty crazy to imagine. Light travels a foot in a nanosecond. I can't even like fathom how short a nanosecond is. You're the 5-year-old? That's why they have the subreddit explain like I'm 5. Like seriously, sometimes we just need like those really watered down explanations. I can't even fathom that. Like how many nanoseconds just passed right now? It's a lot. So many. Like I can't fathom that. Space and time. Ooh. That's why they're fun stuff to draw. Gotta refill my ink. What I'm doing is, okay, so I showed this last stream, but I'm taking this India ink right here. And I'm using this, apparently it's called a turtle. A something turtle, but I just remember turtle because it's more fun. But I'm just diluting it with water because India ink is very concentrated, so that's what I'm doing off to the side. I'm just diluting it until I get a good consistency. It was Miko it's Miko, so he told me what that was, but it's a something turtle. So I'm using the turtle. Help me out. Have not tried to ink like that, like with a paintbrush or with the India ink medium itself. Because typically with the India ink medium, I use it with a dip pen because I like doing very opaque, concentrated stuff. Though with a paintbrush, it's a little tricky in a way because I have to find out the right consistency. Oh, ink from a bottle. It's really fun though. I feel like it's a little bit of a learning curve as opposed to using straight up pens and markers because it's just right there for you. Provided there for you, but I feel like I have a lot more control about like how to use it, like how much opacity I want, how much the line thickness or the medium thickness and stuff. So I really like using ink from a bottle because I feel like I have a lot of free control. I just noticed because I don't have command set up, I don't have Waterbot yet, so Don't forget to drink your water, everyone. Ceramic palette. That makes more sense. You definitely can. And in fact, Annie, this, I took it out of here because I don't have a fountain pen, but there actually is an insert that comes with this particular bottle of ink to where you can refill your fountain pen with this. So you absolutely can. I know it's not as fun as turtle. We're just gonna make up our own art terms now. Turtle. So this stuff is called platinum carbon ink, if you're interested. Platinum carbon ink. And before this, I was using Black Star matte, and I like that stuff too. I find that this stuff is a little bit better at not smearing with wet medium. I think that answers your question, Killer Artistry. Does it bleed where you were to go over it? So yeah, this stuff is really good at just drying up and not bleeding when stuff goes over it. Now I've used, Black Star, Dr. P.H. Martin's ink. This stuff, platinum carbon ink. I forget what ink properties make it so that it won't reactivate when you re-wet them. Because there's certain water-based mediums where that'll happen and then it'll just like ruin your entire piece, or maybe that's your intention, or it functions that way. But for the most part, we want things to stay as they are. But yeah, even like going over like with microns. So there's micron pens and there's this stuff. So if I were to go over this with a Copic marker, I think I'm also using another marker here too, which I think is Higgins Black Magic marker, a brush marker. I think this stuff is pretty good too. I think because this particular subject is so concentrated, there might be a little bit of smudging. But for the most part, if I were to like outline something with a micron or with India ink, and then I were to go over it again with a Copic marker, I think it also has to do with the fact that Copic markers are alcohol based. But, well, actually, no, that's irrelevant because I think it's just how it dries up. Because I can also go over it with watercolors and it won't smudge. But microns is a good place to start. Microns and India ink for sure. How much does a typical fountain pen cost? So yeah, Annie can answer that for you because he uses fountain pens, but I use dip pens. And this stuff is not that expensive. The nibs you have to buy separately. So you buy, this is a Tachikawa holder, and then the nibs are purchased separately. So I think altogether it's like $40. From sea snails, holy crap. No, I've never heard of that. But we do want to try the inks from like Vanta Black, which is supposed to be the blackest of black pigment. And they also make the, no, is it? It's not Vanta Black, is it? It's like the other thing. I could be mistaken. But it's supposed to be like the darkest pigment. And there's the pinkest pink, which is supposed to be the pinkest pigment. Like, what? I wonder what metric makes it so that it's the pinkest pink. So there's Vanta Black, and then there were some like copyright issues with that, so somebody else made it. I forget the story behind it, but it's some like weird legal drama shit out there, but something of that nature. Ah, yes, ancient. I do know that fountain pens can be quite expensive. Oh, it's just a class. Okay. Yeah, there was some like weird copyright thing going on with that. But anyways, that's the type of pigment we want to try experimenting with. Oh, okay. Yeah, you do grade with fountain pens, don't you? That's what I've come to find makes a huge difference with journaling, because I like to do it time to time. It's really good. I found it very, very useful for mental health purposes, just to like write your stuff down. Get all that noise out of your head to paper. But one thing that really makes a huge difference is the type of pen that you use. And now I'm completely sold on Pilot G2 pens. I forget who makes them, but they're G2 pens. They're just so smooth. And I could imagine fountain pens being of that nature too. Like, it just smooth. And it helps, like, because I've journaled. I've spent a week doing a lot of journaling, and I've actually injured myself from using shitty pens. So it makes a huge difference, like using a ergonomic friendly tool. Oh, tiny math symbols. Oh, is that what it's called? Culture Hustles Black 2.0. And the fact that it's matte, it reminds me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they make those holes, or like Looney Tunes. They make those holes and it's like supposed to be a 2D hole, but it's not at the same time. Fun stuff. Yeah, I want to start pulling some more spiral in here. That's not just a giant blob of white. Gotta do it delicately. I think I've done a pretty good job so far turning like at least this half of the paper, so it's gonna be integrated up here as well, but just making it look more cloudy and spotty as opposed to just wishy-washy strokes. Oh, thank you. How's your cake? How's your cake? What kind of cake are you making? I just wish we had a way to send food to each other, because I would totally do that. I would totally make some food and upload it onto Discord and just be like, just download this pie and you can all have some. And then Jock can do the same with all the wonderful stuff you've been making. Oh, a coconut cake. Happy birthday to your dad. Got a lot of June babies in here. Mottled. That's a new word. Mottled. It sounds automatopoeia-ish, so I think I can assume what that means. I know 3D food. I mean, there's technically, didn't we talked about this before on stream? How there was like 3D spaghetti, 3D printed spaghetti. So funny. It's so. I know. I'm like, Ronnie, Ronnie, are you still here? We're talking about you. Pancake butts. Oh man, that's so cool. They just need to be more home friendly and accessible. Like, I'm sure they're in some really weird sciencey labs right now, but they need to be like at your local Target. I would get one if I saw one on Target. Well, assuming it wasn't like $5 million, like a reasonable price. I'd be like, okay, I'll do that, and then like Jock can have one and Annie can have one, and like we can all have one, and then we can just send food to each other. I'll put like the code for it's like a server or something. I'll put the server code on Discord and be like, here's my 3D printing server code, and where you guys can send me food and I can send you guys food. It'll be great. That'd be so cool. Like for real, we can just all collaborate on food and then be like, Jock and cook something on Mondays. Have like a communal like eating space on Discord. How cool is that? We'll be like the first server to have that once we find our 3D printing food tools. We have to make this happen. I know, right? Oh, red velvet Prince chocolate, so cool, so cool. Especially chocolate. I'm not gonna say no to chocolate. Thing is about 3D printing, it takes forever. So you'll have to 3D print for the next day, basically. On Fridays, we have pho. It's so cool. How do you 3D print soup broth? Like, how does that work? It would have to be like really, either really tiny pigments, or how do you 3D print liquid? How has Cornell figured that out? They may have figured out chocolate, but they need to figure out pho next. Give you some time. Hey, you're off. You're relieved from your school duties now, so you can figure it out. You have time to figure it out. There's no pho where you live. Oh, I bet that's something you really miss about Vegas. I mean, not to brag, but it's one of the best things about the city. I've actually come to find I'm more of an udon person lately, because I just like that chill broth with the thick noodles. See, John, I'll print some pho for you. You guys are wild. Like, when would I have ever imagined talking about 3D printing pho? Like, real. That'd be so cool. I'll just send that over if anyone's ever under the weather. What's a chonko nabe? I've never heard of that. Shoot, I'm sorry. This brush is so big. I keep hitting the mic, so if you hear like a random slap, it's the length of this brush. It's like when you're trying to play billiards and you're like stuck in a corner and you're like, I can't. Oh shit, I have never heard of that. I didn't. So I'm assuming if it's a sumo wrestler soup, that it's probably it has a lot of calories in it. Very dense. Holy shit, yeah. Yeah, like, well, I've never had homemade pho, but anything homemade is just automatically like so much better. Much better. So I can imagine that being amazing. Oh, okay. Supposed to be healthy. I wonder, so I've had, apparently I learned in the last couple years that there's a difference between Eastern dumplings and Western dumplings. So growing up, I've only been familiar with Eastern dumplings, you know, like there's like meat or whatever stuffed inside of wonton wrapper type of paper. So that's like Eastern dumplings. But apparently there's Western dumplings where it's like large chunks of dough that expand. So I've had that in soup, and goodness gracious, it's a lot. I'm like, wow, this gets really filling. So I wonder if sumo wrestlers eat that stuff, because it's very filling. Chanko nabe. I gotta look that up. I love soup. I love soup. I know. I'm sorry. This happens whenever I stream, and I can't control it. Like, people just start to get hungry. Like, oh man, y'all should have been here. I was doing a couple streams where I was drawing this hamburger in detail, and I've missed it too. And it's like, I don't need to take snack breaks now, because I stream for a little bit of a shorter time. And I stream later too. I start at 3 now, as opposed to like 2:30. And I eat a lot beforehand. So I don't need to like get up and snack, but gonna eat something good tonight, that's for sure. I know, bring your own snacks. I need to put that in the description again. Bring your own snacks, because this will happen. And I totally forgot how quick it happens too. And all of a sudden we're hungry. We just love food. We just know what's up. We're a community that knows what's up. And good food is one of them. Favorite snacks? What have I been into lately? Well, chocolate's a staple. Favorite snacks? I've been visiting some Asian grocery stores lately, because I did that a lot in my childhood, and I haven't been doing that as much out here, even though we do have a lot. So I've been getting back into the Asian snacks, like the little mango jellies and stuff. And oh, what was this chocolate thing? Oh, I had some chocolate covered pretzels the other day. That was dope too. Salted almonds. Ooh. Oh yeah, Miko just got a popcorn maker for his birthday with like some Amish popcorn and popcorn and M&Ms is something that I've been recently exposed to, because I've only eaten popcorn by itself lately. But then I was like, oh my god, popcorn and M&Ms. I actually prefer eating them, like having them in separate bowls, but because together they get kind of like melty and weird. But it's like a good, I like that chocolate and salt combo, you know? So the chocolate covered pretzels is really good. And then like the M&Ms and the popcorn. That actually sounds amazing. Carrots and hummus. I also do have a thing of hummus in my fridge because I've just been eating that with I have like this brand of pretzel. It's flat. I forget what it's called, but it's flat 2D pretzel basically. So I've been eating that with hummus. I like eating bread. Oh yeah, lately I've just been buying bread from a bakery instead of the grocery store, and it's only like a few more minutes out of the way, but it costs the same as grocery store bread, and it's like I can never buy grocery store bread anymore. Jaw, like you have no idea. Every time I make burgers, I'm like, we gotta get the brioche buns. Brioche brioche buns or none buns. Brioche or noche. That's basically it. I'm like, I'm very adamant about that. I'm like, we gotta get the brioche buns because they're soft. They're just they just make a difference. I miss bread. Do you still make your own bread? Because I know you've been making your own bread for quite some time now. Oh, I had to move the mic a little farther away to not bump into my paintbrush. So if you can't hear me, just let me know. I'll move it back. Brioche or noche. Uh oh yeah, they're half buttery and caramel. So like with the popcorn tins, I can hear the popcorn in the background right now. It's like one of those dome. It looks like it's from the Jetsons, a popcorn maker, and then you put the popcorn in it, and then it spins, and then it just pops eventually. So it's really cool. It definitely one ups that microwave stuff. Did my music stop? There it is. I was scared my internet died. Anyways, epidemic music. Why? Okay, we good. We good. Oh, it's hard when you have no. That's right. It's been like that for quite some time, huh? Like an under construction kitchen. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you can get your counters back soon. Now that you have some time in the summer to do all that stuff. Speaking of internet, I finally switched over internet providers to where I'm paying half the cost now, and it's fiber. It's fiber internet. So far it's been pretty good. Like when I was multi-streaming too at 1080, 6,000 kilobits per second, I believe is the metric. It's been doing pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm overpaying a lot of money for it. I was paying like $150 a month. So now I pay half that, which is nice. And yeah, hopefully it'll maintain the quality. Oh yeah, my question was, okay, so the popcorn tins, what do you usually go for? The butter, the cheese, or the caramel? Because I can't choose. I just eat them all evenly, but I think lately the butter in the popcorn tins has been kind of funky. And your palate changes over time. So I'm thinking that because we're so used to making our own popcorn, like with actual popcorn machines, that it's just naturally gonna be funky. So I like the cheese popcorn. The caramel one's good too, but it can be a little overwhelming. A lot of sugar like that. Oh, nice. Wait, in the process, the like are these two connected? Like you were setting up your internet and then you ran into a plant, or is this like separate but at the same time? But man, I'm sorry to hear that. I've heard that there's been a lot of invasive ivy growing around lately. Hopefully not here. How much is it? It's 70 now. It's with CenturyLink. So I was using Cox before, and some of you were here for that whole debacle. I know Annie was there, remembered that whole debacle where it would just I would just not have working internet. My streams kept dropping, and I was like, I'm paying like all this money. Like, and Cox would change out the router 3 or 4 times and just be like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, just admit that it's your fault. Just admit it. It's okay. We all know this. It happens to everyone who uses Cox internet. But no issues so far. Oh, so you had some around your house. Oh no. Yeah, that's a bummer. Hopefully it was easy to recover from. I mean, I've never had a plant get in the way like that. So I don't really know how that feels like, but yeah. Oh yeah, to get antibiotics. Oh my gosh. Yeah, luckily we don't have stuff like that here. It's really expensive. I'm like, why are you like this? Don't be like this. I think eventually, if and when we do get Google Fiber, that would be the best option. But I mean, paying half the price for the same, if not better quality of internet, can't complain there. Totally worth it. Well, that's good that it was worth all the issues. I can hear all the popcorn in the background. I don't know if my noise gate is, I don't know how effective that is, so hopefully not much noise is coming in. But even if it is, it's just popcorn. Pretty fun stuff. This would be like the 3rd day in a row we've been eating popcorn because we made some. Oh, I can smell it. We made some on Monday, and then we went to the theater yesterday. We saw Across the Spider-Verse and had some popcorn then, and then now there's some popcorn. It'll probably be all gone by the time I'm done though. But you know what? There's more. That's okay. That smell is actually making me hungry, but you know what? I'm not gonna... popcorn is not a good midstream snack because it just gets all over your hands, and I don't want to have like an oily paintbrush. I have to deal with that, so it's okay. I'll let it pass. For now. But yeah, having a popcorn maker is really cool. So shouts to the mother-in-law for hooking us up with that. Starting to look more like a galaxy. A bit more of that push and pull with the black and white ink, and we're getting there. All good, Annie. We will be here. Magical. Oh, thank you. That's what I was going for. I like having some of that ethereal qualities in my work. Which, by the way, I didn't know how to pronounce that word. Oh, you said ethereal. But then I'm like, oh, it's ethereal, like a cereal. So it made me think of like how cereal can be magical. So that's how I remember how to pronounce that word. Ethereal. Because I see it in novels all the time, but I've never heard anyone say it in person. Ethereal. But yeah. It's cool. I like working with space themes. That's probably a lot of what you're going to see in my work, and a lot of underwater themes. And I really want to do a combination of both at some point, because I think astronauts are cool and scuba divers are cool, especially retro scuba diving suits. So it's like I want to do something. I want to do more themes that explore both. And you know what? Both both space and the ocean are just very, really cool unexplored parts of this universe. So I love me a good mystery. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Killer Artistry. It was good catching up with you, and I appreciate you hopping in on the stream. Yeah, baby steps. Baby steps. But you know, it's really cool that you showed up today for sure. And yeah, Discord's always there if you want it. Like whenever you want to join, you're gonna welcome you with open arms. So I got into this phase where I was having a lot of trouble sleeping for a while. It's been better now, but I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. So part of what I would do is just every night I would watch a documentary, like an hour-long documentary on YouTube, so I can just watch that and fall asleep to it. Now, I fall asleep to TV very easily, but the thing is, it can't be something boring, like too boring, or else I'll just get back into my own head again. And that's like part of the reason why I have trouble sleeping sometimes, is just because my brain is like la la la. So if it's something that's quite interesting, it actually helps me fall asleep, which is weird. But anyways, a lot of these documentaries I was watching had to do with the ocean, and a lot of the things that intrigue me about the ocean is like the deep sea part of the ocean. And the thing about the very deep parts of the ocean is that water pressure is so strong. Like so as a diver, every 30 feet or so, it reduces by 25% or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember my numbers, but the pressure gets so intense that a lot of creatures down there, it's hard to survive because your lungs will actually collapse onto itself. So thousands of feet below the water, there's this one documentary I was watching. It was this Japanese ship that went to there's this ridge in the Pacific or something where it's just like one of the deepest parts of the ocean. I forget what it's called, but it took them like almost a day or 6 hours or some really ridiculously long time just to put their machine to the bottom with their cameras and stuff, just to see what's down there. And like these shrimp they have down at the bottom of the ocean that it's a lot of very translucent creatures like fish and shrimp that are down there. Crustaceans. Not crustaceans, sorry. Whatever shrimp is. But it's very fascinating that they have this quality to them to where their lungs don't crush under all that pressure, and they can function in that environment. So it's really cool. And it's amazing that with this I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's very interesting. I just looked up like deep sea, the deepest part of the ocean, something like that. And they did actually pull up the shrimp and inspect it, and they inspect like these chemicals or the anatomy of the shrimp that makes it so they can survive in these types of climates. Yeah, just really interesting stuff, because there's still a lot of stuff in the ocean that hasn't been explored. And it's crazy to think that, you know, we've been on this planet. Human beings have been on this planet for quite some time now, but there's still so much we don't know about it. That's why I've taken a random obsession with Greenland lately, because it's like such a big island. It's technically an island, but it's very sparsely habituated. Like there's not many people live on it, and I think it actually has the least amount of people per square feet in a given country. And it's just like, what is out there? What is out there on our planet? So the ocean really intrigues me, and like places like that intrigue me a lot. Which, by the way, I think I want to do, speaking of bringing back drawing themes and stuff, I think I want to do cryptids for October, because I think cryptids are really cool, and Greenland has some very interesting local cryptids to them. Like each country and each culture has some unique cryptids based on, you know, what people have been supposedly seeing and stuff. So Greenland has some very interesting cryptids. I also think that the interior of the Earth is very interesting, because we also don't know about a lot about that as well. Like the stuff that we know about our planet is just like literally surface level, and we still don't know a lot about what's inside our own planet. I kept telling Miko, I'm like, I swear, what if there's like a giant dragon that's inside of the Earth and we don't even know that? Like, because we just don't know. It's highly unlikely based off of what it takes for something to survive down there, but then again, we just don't know. Same with like the ocean or stuff like that. It's just crazy to think about, like our little planet. So much wonder. So I like exploring those themes, and I like representing those themes in my art. And maybe I'll draw that too, like just a giant like planet with a little dragon inside of it. Because I also like drawing dragons. I used to draw a lot of dragons back in high school and college. I was in high school, I was obsessed with dragons. Yeah, I want dragon everything. I like a license plate holder that was a dragon and stuff. So yeah, I don't remember, but I swear I was doing that for 2 weeks, where I was just looking up documentaries about the deep sea. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. And how there's also these creatures that live around these like hot water vents and can just survive in these extreme temperatures. I'm I'm sad. They've taken a lot of there's not a lot of cool documentaries on well, I don't really use Netflix anymore, but a lot of these streaming providers, they don't really have a lot of cool documentaries anymore. They used to have some really cool ones, but now it's YouTube has a lot though. So that's definitely one to explore. That's where I get a lot of my education, YouTube. Look at me vouching for YouTube again. Come full circle. But no, for real, there's and then like we went on a spree of watching those eyewitness or what are they called? Eyewitness documentaries or the documentaries that are played in school in the 90s, and then the opening's like dun, 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 dun. And then you learn about it. It's meant for kids. It's meant for kids, and it's like today we're learning about birds or like horses or something, but it's really cool. It has like that weird 90s vibe to it that's strangely comforting and nostalgic. It does, and it's free, which is really cool. Free education. Can't get more badass than that. Yeah, that's just what I love doing when I'm like working on like freelance projects, because I do user interface for like freelance and or just doing some admin work on the computer, and I just want something in the background. I'll just look up just watch like podcasts and documentaries on YouTube, and it's just really cool, or like video essays. I'm trying to find some more that aren't art related, because sometimes I can my social media and my online feed is a lot of art, and it's a lot of like artists and art business stuff and a lot of art, but it can be overwhelming sometimes that I'm like, okay, I need to look at something else. So some of it is like philosophy or I don't know. It's still pretty new to me to explore more of those things, because a lot of the podcasts I listen to are art related podcasts as well. And it's like, okay, sometimes I just need a break and I need to pay attention to something else. I just noticed I'm wearing like very light gray pants right now, and I'm working with a lot of black ink, so maybe I should not put the towel there. So far, so good. Yeah, documentaries are so cool. One of the Netflix ones that was really cool that they used to have is Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And I took an acting class in college as a elective. And I was like, sure, if this is being offered to me, I'll take it. And it was taught by a wonderful gentleman named Clarence Gilliard, who is the partner of Chuck Norris in Walker, Texas Ranger. And he was just an incredible guy, and like taught us a lot of like really cool things and a lot of really cool life lessons. And one of the movies we had to watch or documentaries was Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and it's one of those like very inspiring yeah, we built this sushi place from the ground up and from a like poor little family and stuff like that, but it's just very inspiring. I love sushi, so it's my favorite food, so of course it was really awesome to watch. slowly getting this to look more proportional. I think sometimes I can do art better on one side than the other side. So I'll try to even it out. You want sushi? I know. I had... Do you have sushi burritos where you're at? Because once I started, like, I thought the concept was... Well, I wouldn't say ridiculous, but I thought the concept was a little more novel. But I love sushi burritos. It's really funny because we had a... When I was a kid, we used to host Japanese exchange students. So it was really cool because it would stay at our house, and they were usually these women that were between 16 and 25, like really young women who go to America to study English. So I think I was around like 8, like elementary school age at the time. So it was really cool to have someone who was like an older sister figure to hang out with. And they usually bring gifts when they stop by, and I would get a lot of origami stuff. So I was really into origami because of that, because I just got tons of origami paper. But where are they going with? Oh yeah, so we had burritos one night, and this girl didn't know what a burrito was, because she's, you know, I guess there really isn't a lot of Mexican food out in Japan. So I was like, it's like a Mexican sushi. Like, it's basically the same thing. You put a lot of stuff in a wrap, and then you eat it. And she was like, oh, and it like clicked for her. I thought it was really funny. And like, so it's funny that it became a thing years later. You do not? Oh my gosh. It's so good. I mean, it's, if you've had a hand roll, which is basically like uncut, like sushi that's not cut up, it's basically the same thing. Like you have your seaweed wrapper, and then you put like sushi rice and like cucumber and some sort of fish in there, like salmon or tuna or unagi. And I think the one I had the other day had mango, cream cheese. Cream cheese is so bomb. I'm using this thing. It's so good. But yeah, whoa, I just accidentally made gray. This is kind of cool, actually. I do need like a middle tone. I didn't clean my brush properly, and then I dipped it into the white, and now it's gray. It's like some very elementary art stuff that I didn't even notice happened, so that's cool. But yeah, sushi burritos are so cool. Yeah, I love sushi, and I've probably talked about this on stream a lot, and I will continue to, but Vegas has some of the best all-you-can-eat sushi places out here. It's seriously, I don't know why we have so many. We just have so many of them, and it's not even bad. It's like really good quality sushi too. Like all sorts of rolls. If you want like a regular roll, special rolls, deep fried rolls, nigiri, which, you know, nigiri is typically pretty expensive, but you pay, it's like $30 for anything on the menu, and as much of it as you want, which is insane. That is just insane. And it's really good stuff too. So that's a thing. That's a thing. I need a new paintbrush if I'm gonna put white back in here, because it was a good mistake to mix some black and the white paint, or the ink, but I don't want to do that for this round. You simply have to move to Vegas. That's pretty much what all the signs are telling you to do. It's like, we got sushi burritos, we got all you can eat sushi, we got everything except nice weather. That's really it. Except nice weather. Yeah. But how's this brush? This brush is alright. It's a bit loose. But I have tape. So we can solve that problem. I know, and then like if you move to Vegas, we don't need to make a 3D food printer, and I can just eat your stuff. Eat all the delicious cakes. Oh yeah, you're in Houston. Yeah, I mean, Miko's from Texas, and I haven't really been to Texas until we got together, and I can see how the weather in Texas can be pretty bad. I can see that. And I don't know if you're familiar with this story or anyone else who's in here, but yeah, the very first time I went to Texas, I got snowed in. It was during that big snowstorm. And I was like, wow, Texas weather is something. And like, even though it is pretty hot out here in Vegas, and it can get miserable, like 110, like miserably hot, it's still dry. And I understand how like pretty hot weather, like 90 degrees can, like right now it's 90 degrees, but it's okay. It's hot, but I don't mind. But I understand how somewhere humid like Texas, where that can really suck. I mean, I've gone to the Philippines 3-4 times, and hot humid weather is not the business. Houston is an hour from Houston. That's something that I didn't realize too, is that Texas is basically its own country. I've lived in the West Coast my entire life. California, San Francisco, which is like, you can't get any more west than that, except for like Alaska and Hawaii, obviously, but continental United States, that's pretty far as it goes. And then now I'm in Vegas, which is like still relatively west. But I've just had no idea. I've just had no idea how big the rest of the country is, let alone Texas. So it's funny, one of the last times we've gone to Texas, because Miko's family, and Miko's from DFW, I had like no idea how big it was. So I remember the pilot announcing, okay, we've arrived to DFW. I'm like, okay, we're gonna land soon. And I was like, the plane just kept going and going and going and going for like an hour until I heard, it seemed like an hour until I heard the plane starting to land, because you can feel the plane like shifting into landing mode. And I was like, are we landing? Like, is this gonna happen? It's crazy. Oh yeah, the DFW airport has its own postal code. That's insane. So the biggest city I've ever lived in is actually Vegas, because San Francisco is actually a really small city. It's just very hilly and scrunched up to where it seems like it's bigger. It's like basically has a Z axis to the city because it's so hilly, but like even still, like Vegas is still kind of a small city in comparison. So that was nuts. And we did the longest road trip I've ever taken was from Fort Worth to Vegas. And fortunately, we got to spend a day in Santa Fe, which was awesome because we stayed at a llama ranch, and it was like the perfect day. We stayed at a llama ranch, we went to Meow Wolf, and the guy who ran the llama ranch also owned a roller rink and he gave us free pizza, and we went roller skating. It was so cool, and like the food in New Mexico is amazing. So very happy that we got to stop by in Albuquerque, which is like exactly halfway. So it is like 10 hours from DFW to Albuquerque, and then another 10 hours from, no, sorry, Santa Fe, technically. And then another 10 hours from Santa Fe to Vegas. And a lot of that first 10 hours is just Texas alone. I think we just spent 8 hours in Texas. And like Nevada, it takes like 10 hours to go from Vegas to northern Nevada. Like Reno takes 8 hours to get there. So it's like pretty big vertically, but Texas is huge. I'm like, when are we ever leaving? But it was so interesting just being in the car. And this was something I noticed recently. Just I love just looking at Google Maps and just looking at stuff. It's a whole hobby. But I don't know why this didn't click to me sooner, but the United States, if you look at the map of the United States, like a what do you call it? Where you can see the landscape, the color of what it actually is. There's a lot of green towards the east, like just a lot of green, and then you move towards the west, and then that starts to get really sparse. It's a lot of yellow. So I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how disproportionate that was in the country I'm living in. I for some reason I just thought it was a little more even, but it was really cool just driving from basically a foresty field environment and just seeing that environment change through Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and then up to Vegas, just seeing that like transition into desert from basically the middle of the country. So it's really cool. Like the United States is so pretty with all the national parks and just the nature and all the different types of environments we have out here. It's so pretty. That was my little revelation, my little rant about nature and Google Maps. But no, really, really cool stuff. And yeah, Texas is something. Oh, you've been to DC and back? Did you drive out there or did you fly to DC? Because that's still quite a drive if you were to drive out there. But I do love DC because I spent like 3 days there. Yeah, I was like, that's a long drive if you're flying. But because I did a convention in Virginia and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this time to explore the rest of the East Coast on my own. So I spent 3 days there, and I traveled from Maryland every day to DC, but I just jam-packed as much museum time as possible. That's what's so cool about Washington, DC, is that they have a ton of museums that are free. And if they're not free, they're like $10. They're like extremely cheap. And I spent the first day at the National Museum of Art. I forget its official name, but it's like the really, really big art museum. And the entire East Wing was closed. So I think the East Wing is more modern type of art. And so the West Wing is more like ancient, not ancient, but like older historical type of art and stuff in the 1800s and stuff like that, 1700s, even before that. So by the way, I was like 2 classes away from being eligible for an art history minor. I think that's just how my degree was set up. Like we had to take a lot of art history classes and survey of art history and stuff. So it was really cool seeing all these pieces that we talked about in class, like in person, like these David statues and stuff like that. So it was really cool. And I spent 6 hours just walking around this art museum, like just a one half that was open. I spent 6 hours and I just wanted to see everything. I was like, I need to see it all. This is so cool. It's just so cool seeing art in person as aside to seeing a picture of it online or like these days we just see tiny little Instagram feed pictures of art, but you see it in person and you see like the brushstrokes that an actual human being did to create this person like 300 years ago. That stuff is mind-blowing. That stuff is absolutely mind-blowing. So I was blown away by this art museum, and I was so adamant about seeing everything. Like the security guard asked if I was okay. He probably thought I was high or something, just walking around, and I'm like, I'm just really enjoying this. You know, this is just really cool. So that was day one, and the other few days, it was like the national history of art, and, American history, and the Air and Space Museum was really cool too. Like planetarium, it was so cool. Oh, you were born in DC. Okay. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Yeah, hopefully next time you go to DC, you'll be able to explore some stuff more. So I take it your family, like you were born in DC and your family's probably from there. It was really weird. I mean, I did get to visit some of the national monuments, like the Lincoln Memorial, and like, you know, like took a peek at the White House and all that stuff. But at the time there was a year where I just dyed my hair like crazy. I had either had like blue and pink hair or like blue and green hair, something like that. But so much attention for it out there. Like random people would just talk to me about my hair. And even like at the subway or like out of the East Coast, I'm like, I don't get it. I guess because DC is a very professional environment, like a lot of people have to look professional to work government jobs. So I'm just like, I don't know, no one says anything about that over here. But I don't dye my hair like that anymore because it's first of all, it's so expensive. Even to maintain dyed hair, you have to not wash your hair often, which is hard because sometimes when I work out and do like Pilates, and I was doing a lot of hot yoga back then too, like my hair would just get so greasy quickly. And I'm like, I can't just not wash my hair for 2 weeks. That's insane. And then you have to wash it in cold water. It's just like, dude, I'm not putting cold water over my head. So it was pretty pointless to try to maintain that. I have like the blonde back here and stuff. But yeah, after that, DC, after Virginia, when I did that convention there, I went to DC, and then I went to New York City, and just, I did like, I had like a tourist, like, list of things that I had to do. Like, I had to eat a Coney Island hot dog, and have a New York pizza, and see the Empire State Building, and go on the top of that, and see the Statue of Liberty, and Times Square, and Rockefeller Center, and just all that stuff because it was my first time there. Oh yeah, another thing too was see a play on Broadway. I was like, I feel like I gotta cross that off my list. And I ended up seeing Avenue Q on Broadway, And what was funny is that I thought Broadway was like one theater or like one street, but it's a whole district. It's a whole district to where you can watch these plays. Yeah. Redeems hydrate. I need to hydrate. I'm thirsty. I'm like my big water bottle. Joyce has been going off. No, it's fun though. Yeah, it's it's a district. So there's like 20 different plays. 10 or 20 different plays you can pick from out there. And it was between Lion King and Avenue Q. But I did eventually end up seeing Lion King in Vegas, and that was really cool. But I think I really wanted to see Avenue Q because I went to London with my parents when I was a teenager, and my parents are very conservative, so I'm like, there's no way my parents would let me see Avenue Q out here. So that was cool. Got to do that. Oh wow, we actually made quite a bit of progress. I like this brush. I chose it on accident and I didn't mean to, but it's kind of like a messed up brush where when I'm dabbing these spots, it's actually giving me multiple, like very sporadic dots of color, or not color, of ink. And that's exactly what I need. A little bit of that sporadic ink blots. Gives it that motion too, because like galaxies are moving. I don't know if you know this, but you're in a galaxy right now that moves really, really fast, which is also on a planet that moves really, really fast. So put on your seatbelts. But yeah, galaxies move. they move quite fast. It's good to have a little bit of that motion in there. Let's see, we're at 5:40 Pacific Standard, so I'll be on for another 20 minutes. I don't know if we're gonna get to like detailing this guy right here, so I might do that off stream. I think I'll just, because we're mostly done. So I might just do the very, very finishing touches tomorrow. But I will be uploading it on Discord. Something that I've been slacking on is uploading my own work onto Discord, and I'm like, I should do that more. I mean, uploading my own work in general, I've been slacking on, but I mean, you guys were here to see the process, so I want to make sure you guys are updated on the finished result. I know, and it's like, well, I kind of had the opposite issue. I do want to, on Discord for sure, I want to upload my art more, but I think for a while, especially a couple years back, I kind of felt like I had to update everyone on Instagram about what I was doing all the time as far as my art goes. Or like to the point where every time I would try to make something, it would I felt pressured that it had to look good like every time I tried to make something, and it really did hold me back. So I was like, okay. I took some time off to just make art just for me, and that was really refreshing, honestly. It's really refreshing, and it's still important to keep doing that. And I've I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't had time to just do that, but it's important to do that every once in a while. Like just make art just for you. And it can suck, but like you just gotta have fun. That's most important. We gotta remember to have fun. So, but I think like I don't mind posting on Instagram less because it's Instagram, but Discord is definitely a more fun environment to and helpful environment to share work because it's more of a community. Like Instagram is not like you can have some community vibes on Instagram, but Discord's more meant for that community. So I feel more like I wanna share more of what I'm doing on Discord. I know it can be scary. Like, ah. So that's a little bit why I stopped, but for this one, I don't mind getting back into it. Especially when we get started on doing monthly art themes and stuff. That would be really fun. And it's really fun, like seeing it in other people's servers, how many different interpretations of a concept people put together and like the different mediums. It's just really cool. So I can't wait for that. I think something I want to do to make these lines, like to make this galaxy look really crispy. I mean, we gotta put like way more stars in there. Not enough stars in this galaxy right now. Come on. But I have a reference right here. I'll just show y'all. But yeah, this like putting like these like very fine lines in between the star spirals. We have some of that now, but I really want to go in there with the dip pen and just like really detail that out. So depending on how dry this ink is, we might get to that today, we might not. Oh yeah. Oh, I thought you were done with the cake. Oh my goodness. Still bacon, that's right. Yeah, I want updates on this cake. And I want pictures. I can't eat it. I at least want to see it. and pretend. I've been having fun using this accidental gray color or gray tone that I made to kind of tie everything together. Because this piece started out with like the black and the white being very separate, but now we got like this stuff going on. Like a real galaxy. Whoa. You know, I was really worried about this mixed media paper warping on me with how much I've been putting a lot of water on here. This is basically like a watercolor painting at this point. But it's doing a pretty good job, all things considered. Even when I untape this, it has a bit of a curve to it, but if you paint on some cheap watercolor paper even, and you don't tape it down, it'll get like really warpy. It does not look good. So I'm happy to see that this paper is behaving. I figured I couldn't go wrong with Strathmore brand. They know what's up. I feel like if I just kind of, what I'm doing now is I'm just straight up painting with water and taking the pre-existing ink, especially towards the end of the galaxy right here, and just kind of clouding it out. That seems to be working along pretty cool. Like, I wanted some really distinct looks to how the galaxy is going to turn out, but I also wanted some abstract qualities to it as well. I have a good blend of both. This side needs something. It just needs a little bit more white. I'll use my uncontaminated brush to put more white ink in my turtle. This is like some hypnotic space music playing in the background. It's so cool. I'm like kind of scared to ink over Spaceman, but I shouldn't. I can just shade it back in. I think I did a pretty good job of blending in the tone of the white with the white of the paper to where it kind of looks like it's all intermingled with each other. I was a little worried about that in the beginning. Add some brighter white here. Might have to wait for it to dry to do some more of that, but I'll give it a shot. This background's almost done. definitely a huge difference from when we started out. I do say so myself. Which is cool, which is not bad for like 3 hours. It's a lot of like exploration for sure. Like fine-tuning stuff, but we pretty much got there. I think I'll just get some, try to work on this side just a little bit longer, and then we're gonna call it a day. Another good stream. It also helps when you're working on stuff. Like, if you think you're finished, just step away from it for a couple hours or so to let your eyes refresh. And then you can, once you step away, it's easier to see the big picture, because oftentimes as artists tend to work on things, we tend to just zoom in, just unconsciously zoom in on certain parts to where we just forget to see the big picture. And that's often what is perceived initially when people see art, is just like the big picture. So it helps to step away just to get like a fresh impression on what the big picture of things look like. And it also helps too, like I have the stream window open in OBS. I have this picture in like a small little, like a little window on my monitor. So when you take a picture of your work, it also helps you, or if you see like just a picture of your work on your phone camera or on your monitor, it helps you see what it looks like in the big picture. So that's pretty much what I'm doing when I look up sometimes. What does that look like? All right. So we're like 95% complete. And like I said, I'm gonna do that thing where I'll just let it rest for a while, let it dry, and come back to it and get to the fine details to really complete this piece. And then I'll post it, and I'll be posting it on Discord and Instagram and all that good stuff. So, and with that, it is now 6 o'clock, which makes this stream 3 hours. Thank you all so much for joining today. Good to see lots of familiar faces in here. Really appreciate it. Your views, by the way, really help me get to YouTube partner, because a lot of that metric is counted from watch time. And thank you so much for joining and participating in the stream, making this a fun experience for me, most importantly. So I will be streaming again. I'll probably hit up one more day in June, like some of the very last days, as I will be out of town, and I will be coming back on the 27th. So sometime after that. And with that, have a good rest of your June, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks. And don't forget, once again, to check out all the links in the description. I have some other social media links there. If you follow them, I have the Discord server link. Everyone's welcome to join, and would love to see your work in there. So take care and see you guys again